Good morning friends and welcome to yet another episode of Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. I am Girish Michandani and today we'll be talking to a young female transporter who has made a mark for herself in a space that has been limited to men only. But not until this female transporter entered the space. The road transport industry, as we all know, is divided into various segments. The industry is largely differentiated on the basis of the geographies that you service, the kind of trucks that you have, and the kind of cargo that you move. It is not at all an easy industry to be in, and that is one of the reasons why many youngsters in the past have chosen to take alternative professions. But times are changing, and we are glad that many youngsters now are part of this road transport industry. But we are glad that many women are also entering this space and making themselves the flag bearers of Eicher's Nayi Soch. In today's episode, we will be talking to Minal Mehta of Miletrade, a company that focuses on movement of cargo. In Eicher Nayi Soch today, we will be talking to Minal Mehta of Miletrade, a company that specializes in the movement of chemicals, especially hazardous goods. In fact, every consignment that Miletrade carries out there is a ticking bomb. And that is the kind of question that Minal faces every time a truck is out there. Madam, kya isme bomb hai? Is what she's heard many number of times. So let's dive into this interaction with Minal Mehta coming up right after this very short break. Keep watching Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions.
एकदम टिप टॉप है सर है क्या?
हाँ है ना ऑफिस में.
कैसा है सर? मैं कह रहा था हमारे जो 2 ट्रक है ना.
पहले जाके हाथ धो के आ.
सर मैं
हाथ धो के आ.
सर मैं कह रहा था कि हमारे दोनों ट्रक चकाचक हैं.
और मैं कह रहा हूं पहले बैठ जा. बैठ जा. पहले खाना खा लेते फिर काम की बात करते.
बिजनेस तभी बढ़ेगा जब सोच बदलेगी.
Welcome back friends to Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. In our episode today, we are talking to Minal Mehta of Miletrade. Welcome to Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Minal. Can you tell us a little bit about your company and how did the name Miletrade come into being? It's quite an unusual name for a transport company.
Thank you, Girish, for having me over. I think Miletrade is more like Miles stands for a denomination for distance and trade is service. So I think the Miletrade name came into existence. About business, we started business in 1983. So it is a first generation business. My dad and his brother, they started business together. We initially started as traders. So we were traders for certain products manufactured or byproducts of RCF, that is Rashtriya Chemicals and Fertilizers in Mumbai. Over the years, looking at our services and experience and the kind of services that we provided to RCF gave us more avenues to get into. So in 1992, we started a full-fledged transport business in the name of Miletrade, where now we are completely focused only on transportation of specialized chemicals which cater to the explosive industry mainly.
Minal, this is quite a challenging task, especially the kind of hazardous goods, the kind of explosives that you carry. So what are the typical hardships that you face, including the paperwork on the way?
So of course there are a lot of paperwork, licensing, agreements, all of those things that get into picture once we talk of hazardous chemicals. In 2012, a lot of rules and regulations were formulated by the government of India to regularize this product, especially after the Bombay blasts in the train in 2011. So after 2011, there were a lot of rules and regulations that came into picture, and we had to then take care of the nitty-gritties of en route transportation, the documentation, and everything that follows. So we have to actually have permissions from Bombay to the plant, wherever the vehicle is going to move. We have to intimate each police station on the way that the vehicle is going to be moving around on this route. So every vehicle is intimated to all the police stations on the route.
Minal, what are the routes that you operate on?
We operate from Bombay, Nagpur, so Bombay, Nagpur, Chandrapur belt. Then we operate in Jharkhand belt, that is Jayant Singrauli. Down south we go to Hyderabad. So mainly those belts where mining is the forefront.
So Minal, what are the on-ground challenges that you face during movement of these kind of goods?
One is theft, of course. This product is actually not sellable in the market, but very easily available. So because now people know that this is in hazardous goods, explosives are made, it became very, very popular. So every police person will stop the vehicle. अरे ये तो बॉम्ब है, अरे ये तो बॉम्ब है, अरे बॉम्ब नहीं है, इसमें पानी है, आग भी नहीं लगेगी, पर भाई बॉम्ब है. Because the vehicle is hot, it is in liquid form. So when the chemical is poured into the tanker, it is hot. It's really hot. So if anywhere en route the vehicle is stopped for a while, अरे ये तो कुछ हो जाएगा, there's a little leakage, अरे ये तो बॉम्ब है, ये तो फट जाएगा, अभी आग लग जाएगी, अरे नहीं होनी है, कुछ नहीं होगा, have patience, we'll tackle it. But no, yeah. So all these things en route, people, because of the popularity of the product, we face a lot of difficulties explaining it to people that it is not what you think. It is manageable.
Minal, eventually it is a driver on ground who is responsible for everything that goes in and around the truck. So what kind of training do you pass on to the drivers to make sure that everything goes right, including in cases of emergencies where he has to deal with things that are beyond just driving?
So we have a yearly training to all our drivers. Being in hazardous, it is mandate to have a yearly training, and we ensure that it is done probably 8 months or 10 months in line as to how the product is to be handled, what is to be taken care when it is en route. Like for example, there's a leakage. You cannot directly pour cold water on it. Otherwise the tank goes for a toss, it'll completely squeeze. Imagine hot tank, cold water is poured, completely squeezes. So yes, how do you handle the product when it's en route? Of course, in terms of vehicle, how to maneuver it, because it's liquid, so how do you climb the ghats, how do you get off the ghats, because otherwise the mobility of the liquid will push the vehicle in some direction. So yes, then all of that has to be taken care of. The designing of the vehicle has to be taken care of.
Tell me, were your dad and uncle happy getting into the transport business?
Oh yeah, they have been thrilled. They have loved the business. So now we have multiple lines of businesses now. My uncle takes care of certain kind of chemicals. They are mainly traders and then transporters for those products. We are taking care of only transportation for certain explosive manufacturing products. Then I have another uncle who is into poultry farming. So chemicals and food related to that. Another one is into some other chemicals. So now we have varied form of businesses come out from the one source of business that we had. So I have 4 uncles and all of them have similar but different scope of businesses.
Do you handle transportation for all of them, is it?
No. We handle transportation only for our company.
Okay.
But yes, of course, because everybody is allied, so you have knowledge sharing happening, resource sharing happening all the time.
And when did you decide to take the plunge into the transport business?
I think business came to me very naturally, coming up from a business family. So,
And that too a Gujarati business family, I might add.
Gujarati business family, first generation. From birth, I have seen only business happening. So yes, I think business came very naturally to me. So I finished my graduation. That's when I decided that I can't do a job. I can't do a 9 to 6 and go to office and come back. I can't do that. I need my time. I need my people to shout on. So I think business was my calling ever since. So post my graduation, I started business, and then I have done a course called Family Managed Business. So it's an MBA for people who have family businesses. So yeah, that gave me more exposure into the business, gave me a better entry.
Minal, you entered the industry at a time when women were seldom seen, handling critical portfolios. Forget about leading a transport company. Were you aware of what you're getting into when you joined the business?
Not really. So we are two siblings. I have a younger brother and me. So I have been brought up like a guy only, I believe. So I'm the eldest girl also in the family. So of course pampered and treated as if, "Arey, ye to sab kar legi." So yeah, I have been brought up like a guy. A male. So it, of course, initial time in 2006-7 when I joined business, logistics was totally male dominated. You barely could find women in the industry. Like you probably even wouldn't find sanitization for women in certain places. But yeah, over the years, now you see a lot of women entering into the business. From an earlier male dominated industry, it has grown to a mixed culture. We see a lot of women coming in. We see a lot of startups coming in. From an unorganized sector, what it used to be, it has become it's getting to an organized sector. So yeah, women are coming, they are driving the change. And yeah, there's a lot of scope for women now at least.
Minal, before you joined the transport industry and your family business, of course, did you have any idea what this industry is all about? What are the challenges? How does it work?
Not at all. So I used to go to office, have samosas, snacks, cold drinks and come back. That used to be my office visit before I joined business.
Minal, what were your initial learnings and who would you call as your mentor at work?
Initial learning, I think my dad was very hard on me in a way. I was not given a cabin. He's like, "You're not going to get an AC cabin and a nice polished cabin where people will come and, cater to whatever you want. Your samosa days are over. Get to work now." So yeah, he would, so it was taught to me that you have to if you want to learn business, you have to go from the bottom. You can't come from the top and expect everything to come to you on a platter. So yeah, I started going to office. I was put through all the roles that go into the office, all departments I have worked through. Fortunately, he was always there. He's still very active in business. So every evening we used to have those half an hour, 1 hour sessions and we used to come back together. So I used to have more questions in office and post office as well, where I used to pester him as to what is happening, why this, why that, why not this, why not that. Yeah, so it has been a learning experience ever since. He's been a good support and I'll say mentor or giving me directions all the time.
Minal, what's the best thing that you like about the road transport industry?
The best thing about transport business is the diversity that it has. It is a very, very diverse, dynamic industry. Scope for everyone, anything, you dream it and you can do it. I think the scope is only increasing ever since. We have earlier, logistics or transport would be only saying, "Aure, iske paas to gaadi hai. Ek gaadi wala hoga, do gaadi wala hoga." Now it has you have a fleet. What else services can you give? Do you have warehousing? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you give door-to-door services? How more can you customize your service? So there is scope for imagination, there is scope for whatever you want to do.
Friends, it is never easy getting into the transport industry or settling down into the transport business, especially when you have no previous knowledge or no previous background about the business. So from simply having cold drinks and samosa during her fun time in office to actually taking care of business, how has been Minal's journey? We'll talk about this and more coming up after this very short break on Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions.
ये मार्केट में अच्छा चलेगा।
डीलर प्राइस का फाइल दिखाओ।
जी
सर मैं चलता हूँ।
राजू भाई 4 कप चाय बना दोगे?
सर ये चौथी चाय
तुम्हारे लिए जोरों से बारिश हो रही है, घर ड्रॉप कर दूंगा।
बिजनेस तभी बढ़ेगा जब सोच बदलेगी।
Welcome back to Eicher. Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. We are in conversation with Minal Mehta from Miletrade. So Minal, can you take us through your initial few days at work? What were they like?
So initially when I went to office, like I said, I used to go to office, have samosas, snacks. People used to come to me with cold drinks and that used to be my day. So now when I walk into office, it is completely different. It is no more samosas and cold drinks to me. So fortunately for us, we don't have a very high attrition. I have my people who've been with us since 37 years, 35 years, 20 years. So they've technically seen me grow. They've seen me go to school, college, then come to office, have played with me and done everything. So I'll address a lot of people in my offices as uncles because that's how it has been for me. So yeah, first day was very mixed. Old staff would look at me as, "Arey, kid has come. Now what will she do?" Some new ones will be fearful. Okay, what changes will she get? Will she remove us from our jobs? She's the owner's daughter. What is she going to do? Does she have any sense? Degree तो लेके आ गई पर बाकी कुछ है कि नहीं है? So it was constantly, of course, pressure to perform, learning experience. People always judging you कि भाई क्या हो रहा है? Are you doing it? Are you putting something on table? Or it's just that you come to wail away your time over here. So yeah, very mixed feeling that I went through in the initial period. Fortunately now people in office treat me more as associate or somebody they can walk up to any time. And they come here to do business and work and grow. So yeah, be serious. It's no more fun.
How tough was it getting over the tag of being the boss's daughter to actually getting your staff to take you seriously? How was that journey?
I wouldn't call it tough. So I was put through all departments. I was a very inquisitive kid, so I had a lot of questions. Eventually, when people understood that okay, she has a little brains, she knows what she's talking, she can get something, she can be productive, she can add something to work. That's when eventually they figured out that she's not only the boss's daughter, she is one of us, or maybe someone here who can grow and with whom we can grow together.
So the acceptance from the staff was very good and they were very supportive to you throughout.
Yes.
Minal, what initiatives have you taken to make your business, your operations more efficient, and what changes have you seen in the industry in the last few years?
Like we know in the last so there's massive changes that have come over the last 10-15 years, be it technology. We've become more accountable for whatever we are doing. Transparency has come into picture. We have to tell them what we are doing. It's no more we are doing it, you need not be bothered. So all these changes that have come into the industry has made us have to cater to a lot of changes constantly into business. So technologically, yes, I help drive technology into the company in terms of adopting, automating certain things, automating certain processes so as to ensure there is less mistakes, less human involvement, time saving so that people could do other things. GPS became mandate now, but I am so happy that my company was having GPSs even maybe in 2010 when GPSs were unheard of. Like they were not very common. So yes, that was one thing that I got into the company because that would help us track the vehicle. I remember when I used to go to office, I used to have one person early in the morning come to office, make calls to all drivers. Where are you? कहाँ पहुँचा? कब पहुँचेगा? क्या हो रहा है? क्यों हो रहा है? कितना गाड़ी चलाया? Now you have all that at a click on the computer. You know which vehicle is where, how much he is driven, when he drove, did he drive well or not. Is your fuel happening properly, consuming properly or not? Is there any theft there? You know everything at a click of a button now. So GPS was, one thing which was got into early on. Our customers were very happy with it because then we would give them tracking access.
Minal, you really pushed GPS into your business at a very early stage when most transporters were, struggling, especially convincing their drivers to get used to the GPS system. So how did you convince or how did you educate your drivers to getting into using this system?
Of course, they didn't want it that way, right? They used to flee away to their houses in between. Raat ko ghar pe ruk gaya. So we used to tell them, see, we understand you have your houses on the way. You want to stop over. We understand. But don't do it while your vehicle is loaded. Do it when it comes back, when it is empty. So for us, our vehicles go loaded, come back empty. We don't have a reverse load. So we have time when the vehicle is not empty, not loaded. So we can give them like a day's time maybe or a night's time to stay over when the vehicle is not loaded. So I used to tell them, you go on time. While coming back, we'll see what we can do. So yes, then our drivers understood that, the material is hot. The customers will be happy if the vehicle reaches on time. Their manufacturing processes will work better. So over a period, they understood that GPS is not only a threat to them, it is making life easier for them as well and us as well. Like while driving, they would have to attend to calls कि भाई गाड़ी कहाँ है, क्यों है, कैसा है. Now they don't have to do all of that, right? It becomes convenient for them also. They don't have to park the vehicle somewhere to talk to us. Now all that calls have reduced, so they are also happy now.
Minal, you've been in this industry for a fairly long time now. What significant changes have you seen over the years?
Technology is the major change that I have seen. Of course, accountability, transparency has everything come with technology. Earlier, we used to have piles and piles of paperwork. Now, of course, paperwork is there, but equivalent amount of things have gone online. So earlier, we used to have, I remember filing tenders. We used to have pages and pages of Xerox to be done, bundles and bundles, somebody going and couriering it to them or hand delivering it to them so that we don't miss the date. Now all that went online. So you prepare everything online and click and you're done. Your tender at whatever part of India is submitted at a click. Back then, I remember sending people to Punjab and Calcutta and अरे कवर लेके पहुंच जाना, टाइम से पहुंच जाना, उसके अंदर डीडी है, गुम नहीं होना चाहिए, वहाँ पे पहुंच के फ़ोन करना. All that is saved, all that is saved now. Technology has improved a lot of things. GPS has improved. A lot of things have come in. Now your LRs are going online. Now you don't have to actually send your emails first. Your bills would first have to be couriered to the customer. They'll do checking. Now you email to them. They will verify on their SAP system, verify on your SAP system, and you're sorted. Of course, it is not still fully organized. So you see a lot of paperwork still. But yes, it's going down.
It's getting better.
It's getting better.
Minal, how have the government policies like, you have the GST, the e-way bill, then you have demonetization. How have these impacted the road transport business? Do you think this has made the business more organized now?
We aren't registered under GST. So there is a provision whereby GTAs are not required to be registered. So our customers didn't want a registered GTA. They preferred it to be on an unregistered way. So we aren't registered under GST, but I think GST coupled with e-way bill and FASTag is going to change the game for transport industry. I don't know if you are aware, back then on paper the vehicle is going from Bombay to Surat, whereas the vehicle is actually going from Bombay to Chennai. That was the case back then. गाड़ी कहीं और, माल कहीं और, papers कुछ और. Now, all with GST, e-way bill, and FASTag. They are, I think, planning to link FASTag with e-way bill and everything.
Integration is going to happen soon.
Correct. So all of that has changed the game. Now you no more can say my vehicle is going to Surat, whereas it's actually going to Chennai. So yes, transparency, theft will go away because then you know where your vehicle is. Earlier we used to have cases where transporters used to be popular कि गाड़ी उल्टा दी, material बेच दिया. Transport industry is very famous for that.
Infamously famous, yes.
Yes, infamously famous. So all that will go away once once the accountability, transparency, everything comes into picture. All these things will be no more existent. That's how the industry is getting organized versus unorganized,
That's,
right?
I think, a huge change from what when you got it. Things were very, very haphazard back.
Back then, you used to say that you're a transporter. You were looked down upon. अरे ये क्या है? Transporter है? It was like a blue-collared job. Now it's no more that.
How do you see that change now? I mean, how?
Now people respect you. Now people respect you. Achha, how many? What is the size of the fleet? What do you do? Where do you send your vehicle? How does it operate? Now people are inquisitive. पहले you're like हाँ transporter है. क्या फर्क पड़ता है?
So do you address yourself as a transporter or as a logistics service provider?
We call ourselves logistical service providers. Yes, because
Is it because being called a transporter doesn't have that appeal, or because you actually are a logistics service provider in the real sense?
No, it's not about it's not about the taboo. It is about the services that we provide. So it's not purely vehicle भेजा, सामान लिया और भेज दिया. It is more of what.
Into the logistics.
Yes. We genuinely believe in just doing more than picking up material and delivering it.
Friends, one of the most challenging tasks in the road transport industry is handling drivers. And this is more so important in Minal's case because of the kind of cargo that her company carries, hazardous goods. The drivers not only have to be trained, but they have to be alert and ready to take action whenever required. So how has Minal trained her drivers, and how has she grilled it into them to face any kind of challenges? We'll continue our interaction with Minal coming up right after this very short break on Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions.
एकदम टिप टॉप है सर है क्या
हाँ है ना ऑफिस में
कैसा है सर मैं कह रहा था हमारे जो 2 ट्रक है ना
पहले जाके हाथ धो के आ
सर मैं
हाथ धो के आ
सर मैं कह रहा था कि हमारे दोनों ट्रक चकाचक हैं
और मैं कह रहा हूं पहले बैठ जा पहले खाना खा लेते फिर काम की बात करते
बिजनेस तभी बढ़ेगा जब सोच बदलेगी.
Welcome back, friends, to Eicher Nayi Soch presents Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. We are in conversation with Minal Mehta from Miletrade and tracking her journey in this very specific segment of movement. So Minal, do you interact with your drivers regularly? What is the system like?
Yes, you have to. You are in transport and they are your backbone. They are your bread and butter. You better be.
What has been your impression about the drivers, and what have been the learnings dealing with them?
Yes, it is. The language is firstly the biggest challenge. You don't know what language. Even the Hindi is different Hindi, I believe. It's Punjabi Hindi, I think. But yes, they give a lot of inputs at times. It's very nice to imagine. I can't imagine myself being outside home for 24 hours, 365 days a year. They're doing that. They're living in that cabin for you, driving that heated vehicle and moving your goods. Listening to them, you really, get a respect for them, that what they're doing is maybe much more than what you are doing. You're just helping the industry, but they're actually driving the industry. And literally they're driving the industry.
Has it helped in any way that the drivers now get to communicate with a lady who they feel can be more compassionate or more, attentive to their requirements and needs.
Yeah, they know कि भाई, you know, मैडम से बात करेंगे तो कम से कम सुनेंगे तो सही मेरा, बाकी तो लोग सुनेंगे भी नहीं मेरा, कम से कम हम उन्हें समझाने की कोशिश तो कर पाएंगे.
So you've managed to bridge that gap.
Yes, they can actually come up and say, मैडम ये तकलीफ है, ये हो रहा है. Then we of course try to work around कि भाई क्या हो रहा है. So training sessions are a good platform where we get to interact with them. We probably have those training days. We actually have the whatever drivers are available at our end. So they come up to office, have a snack, all staff, everybody sits together, have a snack, have tea, coffee together. And that's how their training sessions happened. At the end of the day, over tea, coffee, they'll start talking. मेरे गांव में ऐसा हो रहा है, मेरी बीवी ऐसा कर रही है, मेरे बच्चे स्कूल जा रहे हैं. So yeah, it's a good experience when you talk to them.
You have managed to bridge that gap.
You actually feel their happiness and pain. You actually know कि भाई मेरे ड्राइवर के घर पे ये लोग हैं. They are doing this. They are not doing this. This is what they want to do.
When the first lockdown happened, what was the impact of the same on your business? Did everything come to a standstill?
Fortunately for us, we were into essentials. So initially 3 days, I think 2 or 3 days is when things came to a little standstill. Of course, en route vehicles were running. But initial 3 days till our customers could get the permissions from the authorities, things came to a standstill. We didn't know what to do, what not to do, will be allowed, not allowed. Certain customers decided to close their plant down in the lockdown phase. So certain vehicles which were at that location got stuck there for a month and a half at times. But most of our vehicles were, after a span of 3-4 days, were en route and running. So fortunately for us, things were going on. They didn't come to a complete standstill.
Minal, what steps did you take to reach out to your drivers and to make sure that they were safe and they were taken care of?
So we have accommodation facility where my office is. So of course they were given accommodation, they were allowed to come there, given food. We have a fully operational kitchen there, so drivers come, stay there, have their food. One was that, then give them those sanitization and how to keep themselves away from people, because eventually we were going to get en route and COVID was not going anywhere any soon. So they needed to be aware to how to keep themselves safe, because they're going to meet people at the loading point, they're going to meet people at the unloading point, in between they're going to meet people. We ensured they carried enough food on the way because dhabas were shut. We spoke to our vendors, petrol pumps, OEMs, wherever, you know, service centers, wherever they could probably sleep over in the night, get food when they required. So yes, we had to ensure that all of that stays in place so that they stay in place, they can carry out their work enough.
So Minal, what are your future plans from here on?
So my future plan is, of course, I look up to my dad. I would want to grow the company, work with same zeal as that he has been working all through his so many years into business. We believe in a sustained growth, so slow and steady wins the race. So we don't want to rush into things. We keep adding fleet, removing fleet. So my fleet's age is 4 years, 5 years, that's it. We don't have vehicles maybe older, maybe a few of them, but most of my vehicles, like 95% of my vehicles, will be less than 5 years old.
What's your fleet size currently?
90 vehicles. So all of them, so we came up with AMC packages. So we now, when we buy the vehicle, we will say that we want AMC so that we don't have to take care of the vehicle maintenance on a day-to-day basis. And if the vehicle is doing good, everything works fine. Your vehicle condition needs to be the best.
Do you plan to restrict your business to the movement of hazardous goods, or are you planning to, you know, venture to other fields as well?
So yes, both geographically and service wise, we both would want to grow geographically in terms of having more branches across India, and giving more services in terms of catering to more chemicals that we can venture into.
So ideally you would like to be known, or Miletrade would like to be known as the chemical specialist.
Yes, there is a niche that we've made for ourselves. So we have been with this product line for over 40 years, and the industry for chemicals and explosives and hazardous is really small. We've made a niche for ourselves there. People know us, we know them, we know how to handle things around. So gives us a good platform to be in. So we definitely are being there. And apart from this, whatever chemicals that are not heftable is what we look into mainly.
You already have the platform, the base ready, you just
Correct.
have to grow over.
Correct. We just have to grow over it.
Finally, Minal, what would be your message to all the women, to all the girls out there who have the family business but are hesitant to join that, especially in the road transport industry? What would you tell them?
So we are not in 2006-07 when it was a male-dominated industry. We are in 2022. Things have changed. Logistics is very dynamic. It has place for everybody, young, old, male, female, be it whoever. Now startups are looking into it. We have Rivigo come in. We have so many startups who want to get into it, and just they are seeing scope in the line. It's no more that you're not being looked at. It is a hot selling cake right now. So yes, there is scope. Please enter. Women have a lot of skills, managerial, multitasking skills. I think we can drive a big change in the industry. So yes, I would encourage and want more women to come in. Already a lot of women are coming in. I know so many women who have actually joined logistics in the last 7-10 years. But yes, the more the merrier. We will see change coming thanks to women.
Well friends, that was our interaction with Minal Mehta from Miletrade. It is so heartening to see women transporters make a mark for themselves, and even more heartening to know how Eicher's Nayi Soch is promoting these women and getting them to the fore. Trans India is happy to associate with Eicher Nayi Soch, and we shall be coming up with many more such stories in the near future. Stay tuned and keep watching Trans India, and before you go, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Until our next episode, stay safe. Jai Hind.